Oh, guys, let's go. We got a little sizely classroom today. I like it. So before the class starts, I want to go ahead and talk about something I always talk about, which is the back walls. They say streaming area and no streaming area. The reason being is that person unknown Krevzz is going to be live streaming this entire class and uploading it to YouTube so you can go back and review it later on. And in the middle of the classroom, I always take about 15 minutes for an interval so you guys can practice conversating together and you guys can practice introducing yourselves and make a new friend in the process. So I think it's very important because that's going to be the best way that you are going to be able to utilize your skills and get better at signing. So if you don't mind being on the stream, um, this is the side that you will sit on. And if you do not want to be on stream, you would sit on this side. Like, there's no judgment for anybody who sits on either side. It's all about your preference. And uh, and then when we do that 15-minute interval, unknown Krevzz goes around and shows the interactions with each other, just because it's kind of a neat thing to be able to go back and just see yourselves conversating and stuff. So yeah, how's everyone doing today? Everyone pogging right now? Let's go. So I wanted to start a lesson plan. I talked about this previously with people, and I think it would be really cool to get used to maybe a rotating lesson plan where every month or two I go back and I do an introduction lesson like this because we have a lot of new people here who are pretty new to signing. I know we have a lot of veterans here as well, but it's very important that people consistently have a class that they can go to if they want to bring new friends to into signing and as well as like brush up on their own skills and kind of review and recap. Also talk about anything that maybe somebody who's been signing for longer doesn't know because they didn't learn from like say like palm orientation, right? How you sign everything like this, like a D, like this instead of like this. I'll be talking about things like that today because it's important that you learn that way. And I know a lot of people sign their D's like this. So that's just an example. So, but sorry, I'm always a little shaken at the beginning of the classroom because it's like, whoa, controller drift. Um, I don't know. I always feel anxious, kind of excited, anxious though. It's always fun. Did you guys have a good weekend? Everybody have a good weekend? Yeah, a lot of cool stuff happened this weekend. But next weekend's gonna be even more pog. So, all right. So, first of all, I want to talk about your introduction. Your introduction, because like I said before, you're going to be conversating with people, and that's going to be the best way to practice everything you're learning from inside of a classroom, all your vocabulary, all your little tricks that you can learn from these things. You're going to practice it through conversation with people in the sign world and here, wherever it may be, and that's going to be how you retain all the information. So the most important part is your introduction. I did a previous class on this, um, and I'll brush up on a lot of the same things that I covered in the previous class. So breaking the ice on somebody, like going up to people, random people, going up to people if they're signing and just introducing yourself and just getting used to getting into the habit of making friends through signing, right? If a lot of people are in the sign world or here, a lot of the times they're going to be pretty open to making a friend if somebody approaches them in a calm and like friendly way, try to genuinely like make new friends and just practice or like practice your signing together. So that's what I'm going to focus on a lot of today, and I'm going to talk about some things like maybe anxiety and how to kind of combat your anxiety. I know a lot of people suffer from anxiety. I certainly do, and a lot of my really close friends do. It's very scary going up to somebody for the first time and saying hi. Nice to meet you. I've been learning for this long, etc. And just making friends. But it's not that bad if once you get used to it. It gets pretty easy. It becomes kind of like second nature. As long as you have your introduction down. As long as you get used to setting yourself in a routine, giving yourself a very confident way to be like, "Hi, my name is Pandalum. Nice to meet you. How are you?" And then starting a conversation from there and continuing it and just keeping the conversation going instead of getting anxious and shy, shutting down, getting nervous because you mess up a sign, you know? And so Today I'm also going to be covering the alphabet. Because if you learn fingerspelling, I always tell people this, if you learn fingerspelling, you can have a full conversation with somebody. Maybe it's not going to be the fastest conversation, but you can have a full conversation with somebody. And after that, it's all about building your vocabulary. If I finger something, spell something to you, and you know the sign for it, it's kind of like common courtesy. It's like normal for somebody to be like, hey, I know the sign for that. Here, let me show you it. Like wait until after somebody's done. A lot of the time, say like I'm finishing a sentence, I'm trying to say something, get my point across. It's polite to like let somebody finish before you show them the sign for it. Vice versa. It's not necessarily like rude of somebody to be like, hey, you finger spelled fix. The sign for fix is this, or if you want to sign tool, it's that. And don't be insulted like, are you insulting my intelligence? No, it's all about progressing. It's all about trying to help each other improve. We're all here for the same reason. We all want to sign, we all want to learn, we want to improve. So don't think of anybody else just because of their sign experience. Don't think they don't want to sign with you because you're inexperienced or you're new. That's not true. That's not true. I think majority of the people that are in the sign world are very happy to help other people, especially the other people I know that are from immersed. So it's very cool. It's a very like uh what's the word? It's a very nice like community, honestly. I feel like a lot of people, especially like a lot of my really good friends, people in here, anybody on this little helpers chart, a lot of people are just sitting in the sign world looking to help people, just vibing, waiting for somebody to come up and answer questions. And so I think it's very important that you utilize these people as well. And come up to me whenever. I'm always down to help people, you know. So don't ever feel ashamed if you have to ask the same question twice until it clicks, because it's not like everybody learns at their own pace. It's not a race. You don't need to sign the fastest right off the bat. It's not about how fast you sign. It's about how clean you sign and how well you convey what you're trying to say through signing. So it's not about I need to rush this sentence and just get it over with because they probably don't want to. It's none of that. So yeah, just be patient with yourself. First of all, be really patient with yourself. Don't get upset because you're not learning as fast as other people. I know a lot of people tend to get down on themselves because of that, but who cares? Like nobody's sitting here trying to race you. And you shouldn't feel like that. And if somebody is treating you that way, maybe they're not the best person to sign with. So, yeah, that's but generally I think most people are just very like accepting of however experienced you are. So don't get down on yourself. Yeah. It's a very homey community, especially here with the merged people. I'm very happy that I have everybody here. You guys are family to me. And so don't ever feel like you can't approach me and talk to me or any of the other staff because we're always here to help. Yeah, I often do this. You'll see me do this in the sign language world a lot. I'll go up to somebody and I'll act like I'm brand new. And I think the interaction with people is so funny. And it's actually really like heartwarming to see how many people, even if they're new, step up and be like, "Hey, like I want to like help you at least start." So I always go like, "Hey, I'm looking to start sign language or I just started. Do you have any advice for me?" And it's really cool all the different answers that I get from people. And I think that's a beautiful part of like the signing community is how eager people are to help each other. So, and if you guys carry that same trait, that's wonderful for you. It's not expected, but it's always noticed. I always notice when people are helping. So, yeah. But the most important thing is if you're going to show somebody a sign, do not like show a sign unless you are 100% sure that that sign is correct. All right. And then sometimes people make mistakes, and that's okay. But like, if you're uncertain, always verify with a teacher, helper, mentor, going online and checking the internet. It's very important that you try to show only correct signs as much as you can, because if you show, for example, a sign incorrectly, then that sign is going to flood throughout all the new people. Some people are going to show that sign to each other, and it's going to make things really difficult whenever somebody has to correct that person on the sign. And so there's already a lot of different variations for sign, and this language is already pretty complicated, like ASL specifically and PSE. Like there's a lot of a lot of like very complicated signs. We don't need to make it more complicated by showing showing an incorrect sign. So that's very important. So I want to show a couple of really like what I signed earlier, like nice to meet you. I want to talk a little bit about it. Talk about like how are you, the different variations of that. So first of all, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So the sign for nice, it's like you're sliding your dominant hand over your non-dominant hand like this. Nice. Nice. And now the sign for meet and meet you is actually all the same sign. So nice to meet you. I know like you'll see other people sign it like nice to meet you. That's not wrong, but I'm going to tell you there's definitely an easier and more flowy way to sign that, and it's definitely a lot more closely related to real life ASL. So nice to meet you like that. So think about these two fingers coming together as people meeting. So nice to meet you. It's a directional sign as well, and I'll talk a little bit about directional signs a little bit later. So these two people are coming together meeting. If you have two people side to side and those people are meeting for the first time, they're coming together. If you and I are meeting for the first time, nice to meet you. These two hands are coming together like this. Nice to meet you. Yeah, meet. Yeah, that's a very good tip to make you look a little bit more like serious about signing, a little bit more like skilled. Just nice to meet you. But does not mean that you're in the wrong if you sign it like this. Nice to meet you and then pointing at somebody. But nice to meet you is the preferred method. Now, how about the sign for how are you? How are you? So, how are you is done primarily with A hands like this. End game, this is an A hand. This is an A hand. You put your knuckles together like this. And you start with your non-dominant hand. The knuckle is facing toward, or the thumb is facing towards yourself. And then all you're doing is starting from point A, you're turning your dominant hand like this. How? That's the sign for how. Like this. How? How? I'm right-handed, so my dominant hand is the one that's moving. That's going to be a very common theme for everybody. Your dominant hand is going to be the one that moves. Your non-dominant hand is going to be the platform in which you build on, your canvas that you'll paint on. Because signing is very, I look at it kind of like art. You're expressing. It's the most expressive language out there. So when you do something like nice, right, you have your open hand, the dominant hand, and that's the one that's moving. This is the one that you're building on. So nice. Sorry, like my controllers are always bleh. Oh yeah, nice. It would be with a flat hand like this. Nice. How is the same way. You're moving your dominant hand. So point A, how are you? How are you? How are you? That is, in my opinion, the best way to sign how. There's another way that people do sign how. It's you have two open hands or B hands. How are you? But I always tell people you should use this how. This how is definitely better. You don't need to break your wrists. Breaking your wrists saying how. How are you? How are you? Definitely a little bit more clean, more fluid, ready to. This makes you look a little bit more experienced too. How are you? How are you? You'll really pog somebody's your champ if you come up to me and go, "How are you?" I'm like, "Wow, all right, this person knows how to sign. Let's go." You know, how are you? This person's what's up. Yeah, how are you? So it's gonna be probably the most used sign next to the sign for cute that you'll be using when you're meeting people. So nice to meet you. How are you? How are you? Yeah. So I want to start showing you guys how to do the alphabet. I know a lot of people here know, and that's okay. So I'm going to show everybody, just in case you don't know about palm orientation like I was showing you earlier, and I'm also going to show you the real life variation of the alphabet because I have an avatar that has modded sign hands that allow me to do every single letter of the alphabet. Real life variation as well. So it's the same exact alphabet that we have in English, right? A through Z, A through Z. So we're gonna start with the letter A. A. In real life, this is the one that is kind of iffy for me. In real life, you would have your thumb pretty much touching right here. You would have your thumb more like this. This will be an A. This will be an A. But in game, your thumb being out, just to make it a little bit more distinct, this will be an A. So A. A. Now the next one is B. In real life, your B would look like this. Your thumb is kind of in the middle of your palm. And once again, everything is facing towards the person that you're signing to. Towards the person that you're signing to. We make a few exceptions for these signs in VR to make them, like, once again, a little bit more distinguishable. But with an index controller, you can put your finger on one of your buttons and make your B a little bit more distinguishable. If you don't have the ability to tuck your thumb in like this, then a lot of people use your other hand, your non-dominant hand, and you stick your index finger in the middle, symbolizing that you're putting your thumb right there. It's a little replacement. So A, B, or B. Also, I should have said this a little bit earlier. You always want to sign the alphabet with your dominant hand. Always. You don't want to be going A, B, C. You don't want to do that. It'll make your sign look a lot more sloppy. It'll make it a little bit harder to read for whoever you're trying to sign to. So you want to stick in the same hand, your dominant hand, and you want to stick in the same little area. You don't need to move your letters all over the place. I can sign the entire alphabet in the exact same place. Now we'll talk about building those into words a little bit later and how you would move around like double letters and stuff like that. So, but we'll continue the alphabet right now. A, B, C. So this is a C hand. And with an index finger, or with the index's fingers, it's a little hard at first to kind of get used to making the C motion, but it looks like an IRL C, right? It's just a curve, right? C. Yep. C. In real life, you would still have your palm facing towards the person, but to be able to distinguish it in VR, we do it to the side like this because it's a lot harder to see somebody's fingers in VR. And so, in real life, remember, C's would be signed like this. But in VR, it's perfectly okay to sign C's like this. I even sign C's like this in VR. Now, A, B, C, D. D. Like I said earlier, a lot of people sign D like this because of things like the board teaching it like this. But in real life, it's signed like this. There's no reason to sign it like this. This would be the correct way to sign a D. Index fingers up. It looks like a D. So, D. So, A, B, C, D, and E. So this would be what it looks like to sign an E in VR. The reason why we're doing it similar to how we do a B is because an E looks like this in real life. You have your thumb tucked into your palm as well, and you're bending your fingers above your thumb like this. So in VR, unless you have modified gestures to do so, it would take you putting your index finger on your non-dominant hand over the palm of your closed fist. That is an E. E. So again, A, B, C, D, E, F. This is both a real life F in game and outside of game. If you have an index controller, you can do this easily. If not, if you have a general VR controller like a Quest, there's a lot of avatars that give you the ability to sign an F like this. If not, if you do not have an avatar that allows you to sign an F like this, what you can do is you can symbolize that you're bending your fingers down and like this. You can touch the tip of your index finger and your thumb, and that would be a general VR F. But if you have the option to use modified gestures for your avatar. If you want to start doing that earlier, it's better in my opinion. So you get used to the practice and you can flow more evenly or like more smoothly. Also getting used to some real life variations of like letters like this because in real life if you did that people would be like what the hell are you doing? So in VR and in real life this is an F. So again, and today's going to be a lot of repetition until we get to the end because it's very important that we make sure that every letter is being signed properly. So A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. G. So this is an NVRG. You stick your index finger out and you point it towards your non-dominant side. So left hand would be like this, right hand would be like this, going towards your non-dominant side. Real life G looks like this. It looks like this. This is a real life G. It's the exact same fingers that you would make for the letter Q, and it's the same way in game. So if you do a G like this, then you would do a Q like this, and VR. If you would do a G like this in game or in real life, you would do a Q like this in real life. So G and H. The only difference between G and H is H has two fingers. You just add a finger. So G and H. G and H. The only two differences between, or the only difference between a Q and a P are Q and a P. It would just be adding a finger. So if you have G and H, then you have P and Q. G, H, P, Q. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. H, I. If you have an index, you should be able to do this. Also with modified gestures for a lot of avatars, you can do a regular I. It's just your pinky sticking up. That's all it is. Your pinky is sticking up. If you can't do this because of your avatar's limitations, it's perfectly acceptable to do a Y hand and or a rock and roll hand and point towards your pinky finger. You point towards your pinky finger. So you would point towards your pinky finger and then you would fingerspell like that. So igloo. Or igloo, yeah. Like that. Also, you can see people do this. They turn their hand to the side. If you have a Y hand, you can turn your hand to the side and only show your eye. But it is up to you. It's completely up to you which one you decide to use. So, but if you have the option to use only your pinky, this is a real life variation of it, and an NVR variation. This is what it is. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You're taking your eye and you're drawing a J in the air with it. J. If you have to do it like this, you can literally just draw J in the air like that. You don't need to indicate the eye. You can just be like J, 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 or J, depending on what controller you're using and what avatar you're using. But this is a real life version of a J and in a VR version of a J. So J. K. So I have modified gestures. So this is what a real life K looks like. It would be palm facing forward as well, just like everything else. But in VR, we actually do the K like this. It's like an H hand, but it's 45 degrees to make it a little bit more distinct. You would do a K like this. If you have index controller, a K like this is probably the preferred route. If you don't have index controller, a K like this is what you would use, unless you had modified gestures. Then you would have a K like this. Yep, but it's very important to know that when you sign a K in real life, it would be like this. It'd be like this. So again, A, B, C, D, E, oh, sorry, E, F, G, H, oops, I, J, K, L, L. That's a very easy one. A lot of people should know L. You know, people sign loser. That is an actual sign. L. You know, so L. Now M and N are done completely differently than how you would do it in real life versus VR. In VR, I recommend doing an M like this. You take two L hands, you face them downwards, and you connect your thumbs. It looks like an M, right? It looks like an M. In VR, that would be what you use. In real life, it looks like this. So what you'd be doing is you'd be tucking your thumb underneath your first three fingers, your index finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger. If you're able to pop it through right here on the other side of your ring finger, that would be what an M looks like. If not, if you're just pushing them up, that's okay too. My fingers in real life are too short to, or my thumb is too short to be able to push it through right here. I know a lot of people can, so I just push my first three fingers up like that. So yeah, an M looks like this in real life, but in VR, an M would be like this. Now the transition between an M and an N is one difference. You move your non-dominant hand upwards like this, creating an N. So for me, it's my left hand that's going up. It's my left hand that's going up, and my right hand is still pointing downwards. So M and N, M and N. So again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. This is an O. It's just you have to leave room for this little circle right here, like an O, right? That's an O. In real life, it's the same rule applies with the palm direction. In VR, it's okay to sign an O like this. In real life, you would sign it with the palm facing towards the person, like this. This is what they call a flat O. You'll use this for a lot of signs, like the sign for more, the sign for like more, sign for food. A lot of signs would use this same hand motion. A lot of people sign flat O's with their fingers touching their thumb, the tip of their thumb, and the palm facing away or towards the person, towards the person. But in VR, this is perfectly acceptable and probably the better way to sign an O, as it's more distinguishable. So O. Do you guys remember P and Q? They're very similar to the signs G and H, right? So if you go from O, you go down to P. This is an NVR way to sign P. This is how you would do it in VR. If you have index controller, you can sign a P like this with your index finger pointing towards the person and your middle finger being kind of slightly like pointing downwards like this. That being said, this is what it looks like to do a real life P. Facing towards the person. It's the exact same fingers that you would use for K, then you'd be doing it downwards for P. And so this would be a P endgame. For those who don't have modified gestures, this would be what a P looks like. Yep. The only difference between P and Q is similar to G and H. You take away your middle finger for Q. So, Q. Yep. This would be an VR variation of Q. In real life, it's the same fingers that you would use for a G hand. So this is a Q in real life. If you don't have a G hand in game, that is okay. This is perfectly acceptable. Q. So A, D, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. Oh, I didn't actually explain N. I'm so sorry. So N would actually be in real life would be a similar the same exact like concept as putting your thumb underneath your middle and your index finger. You're just moving your thumb over one. That's all you're doing. So you're pushing forward your middle and your index finger, and that would be an N in real life. So it goes from N or M like this to N. You're just taking away your ring finger. Yep. And so M, N, O, or O, P, Q, and now we have R. So in real life, this is what an R looks like. You're crossing your fingers, right? I cross my fingers, hope to die, crossing your fingers. It's literally an R. If you don't have the ability to do a modified gesture on your avatar, I would recommend finding one because this is a very, very nice sign to not have to be able to use two hands for. But if you don't have one, that's a-okay. What you would do is you would hold up a peace hand and you would symbolize that you are wrapping these two fingers by using your non-dominant hand to wrap the finger, your index and your middle finger of your dominant hand. So R, R, R. Some people will use another variation of R that I don't really recommend because it can look very similar to other signs like or okay, but they do it with one hand and all they're doing is twisting their wrist towards themselves. So that's what I call a lazy R. That's what I call a lazy R. It doesn't make you a horrible person if you use it or anything like that, but I hope the person you're signing it to understands that it's an R and doesn't get it confused because that does happen. So that's why I always recommend using this R if you can, because it's not easily mix upable with another sign. But if you have an avatar that has a modified gesture, which I know most avatars kind of come like packed with now, is the ability to do a real life R. It's very important. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, S. So in VR, you would draw an S with a fist in the air. That is the variation for S in VR. You don't need to hit the nay nay. You don't need to make a big S. You can do a small S, small and clean, to stay inside that same little bubble I was talking about earlier. S. And in real life, an S is actually all you're doing is taking your thumb and you're putting it over your fingers. So your thumb would be in front, and that would be what an S looks like. This avatar's thumb is going inside of my fingers a little bit, so I'm still working on this avatar a little bit. But an S would be with your thumb going over your fingers like this, and you don't move it. You don't do anything like that. It's just S like that. But in VR, S, S. You're just drawing an S. With my T, T. The next one would be T. So S, T. This is the VR only variant of T. So T. You take your non-dominant hand and you put it over your dominant hand like this. It's a T. In real life, a T would look like this. It's moving the thumb over one more. So putting your thumb in between your index finger and your middle finger. So that would be what a real life T looks like. So it goes M, N, and T. M, N, and T. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, B, Q, R, S, T, U, U. So you're taking a peace sign and you're drawing a U in the air. You're going towards your dominant hand's side. So you start from right here and you make it right here. Like that. So U. So T, U, V. In real life also, a U you don't draw in the air like this. A U would be just your fingers closed together like this. Well, this is not as close as they could be in real life, but a U would be with your fingers completely closing, like touching each other. And the only difference between U and V would be U and V. You'd spread your fingers apart like a V. So in real life, you would not draw the U. You would just do the U like this. It's the same concept as the S, right? You would not draw the S in real life. You would just do the hand motion. So S, T, U, V. So in VR, what you would do for a V is just hold up a peace sign. So you would do a U like this, but then you would do a V like this. It would just be holding up the peace sign. In real life, you would spread your fingers like this to make it more shaped like a V. But in VR, this is perfectly acceptable. And this is how a majority of people are going to sign it, unless they have modified gestures to kind of differentiate the V. W. This is the real-life variation of W. An index controller should be able to do this, and a very select few avatars that have Senko's mod or Isaac's mod have the ability to do W hands like this. But if you have an index, then you should be able to do this on any avatar. Almost avatars. W. If you don't have an index and you don't have modified gestures, it would be a reverse M. So your finger guns would be sticking upwards. So M and W. W. I do see some people sign a W like this as well. They hold up a peace sign like this, and they stick the third finger up like this. That is a way and a variation that I see signed. But I personally recommend doing this as it's more distinguishable in VR and a little bit easier to do on the fly. So finger guns upwards. X. Now the sign for X. In real life, an X hand looks like this. And if you have a VR that can do it like an index controller, this would be, or an avatar with modified gestures, this would be what an X looks like. The same concept goes to this as well. In real life, you would do an X like this, with your palm facing towards the person. X like that. X. And VR, an X like this is a lot more distinguishable. So we do VR X's like this. If you don't have an avatar with modified gestures, you would take your index fingers, and my fingers always want to do an X in this one, but you would do an X like this. X. you're making an X with your index fingers. I always prefer to tell people that your palms are both facing towards the person that you're signing to, as this is an X as well, but I feel like it's just easier to do the X like this. X. For me, in my personal opinion. But if this is more comfortable for you, as long as it looks like an X to the person you're signing to, it's up to you. It's up to you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. This is a Y in real life and in game. This is would be a Y hand. A lot of signs will be using this hand, so get used to sticking your thumb out and your pinky up. If you don't have an avatar that has the ability to do a Y hand, a rock and roll hand is perfectly acceptable. A rock and roll hand is perfectly acceptable. People use this for Y as well. People also do Y, like this.
What kind of place
You
is
have your thumb out on your dominant hand. You use your non-dominant hand to symbolize the
It's
pinky.
making me lag a bit. Holy fuck! Why is there so many people in here? What are you watching? What are you guys doing in here?
Bro.
What's happening?
Shut the fuck up.
Y. But if you have the ability to do a Y,
Wait, why
like
are they
this,
telling me to shut up? There's literally
this
people
would be
talking.
the way to do
What
it.
the fuck? Oh, get
So
it.
Y.
Hold on, bro.
Shush.
Now,
This is a
you
Lagging
fine
a bit.
class.
should be able to do the same sign for Z in
A
real life
sign
and in
class?
VR as
What do
well.
What do you mean? There's people
So,
talking in there.
in real life,
Hey.
you would draw a
There's
Z in the air.
ASL class going on.
So Z with your
Stay
index
muted.
finger. Z. In
The
real
only
life
person
and in
talking in
VR.
there is the
That's the exact
instructor.
same sign. So Z.
What?
If you're gonna
Z.
keep talking, leave.
Now
What?
again, I'm gonna do the alphabet, and then what I want everybody to do is I want you to try
So this is a sign
and
class?
figure spell the people around you's name.
Like they teach
As
like
it's
sign
very
languages for
important
in
for you to
VR?
get into the habit of not being able to do the finger spell. Let me see. Not being able to, like, it doesn't matter how fast you can do the entire alphabet. What matters the most is being able to fingerspell things, like fingerspell words, actually putting the letters into words. Because I know a lot of people who know how to do the alphabet super fast, right? That's all fine and dandy. But a lot of the times I ask those people to fingerspell a word, and then they have to actually go through the alphabet and they have to find the word or they find the letter. You know, it's a lot more hard. It's not as easy. So it's very important for you to get into the habit of always fingerspelling the words around you, the names of people. That's the best way that I think you get into the habit of being able to spell words and fingerspell words a lot. Is everybody's names around you. You have nameplates above you. So again, I'm gonna do the fingerspelling alphabet. A, B, or if you have an index version of a B, you can just tuck your finger in like this. B, C. In real life, it would be like this. C. But in VR, you would do C's like this. D, E. In real life, it looks like this. E, F. This is a real life F. If you don't have the ability to do this, then you would point towards the top of your index finger and your thumb to symbolize that you're closing your fingers like this. F, G, the VR version of a G, and the real life version of a G. H, both real life and VR. I, the real life and the VR version of a G if you have the ability to do it. I, if you don't have the ability to stick only your pinky up, you just point towards it. with a rock and roll hand or a Y hand. I, J, J, real life J. If you don't have the ability to do an I, you can draw it with a Y hand or with a rock and roll hand. K, a real life K would look like this. And VR, we do it to the side to make it more distinguishable. If you don't have the fancy gestures, K would look like this. A diagonal H. That's why I look at it. Going outward. K, L, same sign, both in real life and VR. M, the VR variant of M. The real life variant of M. Your thumb is sticking out right here, or pushing these three fingers up right here. The real life variant of N would be you're moving your thumb over one. N and VR, you would go from an M to an N with your non-dominant hand being the one that goes upwards, and your dominant hand is still facing downwards. So this is what it looks like if I'm right-handed. It would be flipped if I'm left-handed. M N O O. In real life, it would look similar to this, with your palm facing outwards. But in VR, this is an O. P, the VR variation of P. Real life, it would look like this. P. Q, a real life Q. In VR, the VR Q. R, you're symbolizing that you're wrapping your fingers together. This is the VR variant of Q, or of R. Because you would symbolize that you're wrapping them together to make this, crossing your fingers for an R. Oh, I almost lagged. S, you're drawing an S in the air. Drawing an S in the air. That's the VR variant of S. In real life, the variant would be, or the only way to sign S would be with your thumb over your index and your middle finger. S. T. This is the real life variant of T. You're taking your thumb, you're sticking it between your index and your middle finger. So T. In VR, we do T like this. We're making a T with our hands. U. U. You have a peace sign and you're drawing a U in the air. That's the VR variant of U. In real life, it would just be you're squeezing your fingers together, and then that would be U. In VR, you're moving towards your dominant side. So U. V. This is the VR variant, or this is the real life variant, would be with your fingers spread. And then in VR would be just the peace sign. So U and V. And in real life, you would just spread. The only difference between these two, U and V, would be your fingers spread. So, but in VR, technically a U in real life would be what a V would be in VR. So U, V, W, the variant of W, that's VR, the VR variant, yeah. So W, in real life, if you have an index controller, you should be able to do this. And I know it kind of sucks at first getting used to being able to do this because the VR controllers can be painful at times, but this would be what the VR and the real life variant of W would be. But this is perfectly acceptable in VR. W, X. This is the real life variant and the VR variant if you have an index controller or modified gestures. But in real life, you would be having your palm face towards the person that you're assigning to. But in VR, it's more distinguishable this way. If you don't have that, then you make an X with your index fingers in real life, or like this, not in real life, but in VR. Only VR. This is an X. Y. I had to actually go through my alphabet for a second. I'm brain dead. Oh my god. Why? This is in VR and in real life variation of Y. If you don't have this ability through index controllers, or modified gestures or an avatar that has the Y hands, then you could do this. You can stick your index finger as your pinky finger and indicate that you're doing a Y. If you have rock and roll hands instead, then a rock and roll hand would work. But if you have the ability to do this, I always recommend doing it. And Z. So Z. In real life, I see more people kind of tilt their finger a little bit when they're drawing a Z in the air. But Z like this would be the real life variant and the inside of VR variant. So Z. You're literally drawing a Z in the air. So in real life, it's a little bit better to draw the Z with the bent finger. And so that'd be a little tip. But the Z is, once again, the palm is facing towards the person. So Z. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. All right, is there any questions before I go ahead and have you guys kind of like interact with each other and communicate? What's up, Nair? What about double letters? That's a good question. So in real life and in VR, the way to do double letters. So who has a double lettered name? Mary, right? Mary. M-E-R-R-Y. All you do is move it over towards or wait like the direction of your dominant hand would be like this. M-E-R. You space it over. R-Y. Yeah. M-E-R-R-Y. You just move it over one. I see people do that in real life and in VR. So if you have double letters, M-E-R-R-Y. And if you're going in between words, like say you're trying to do a space in between words when you're spelling at somebody, then you would do like M-E-R-R-Y space. If my controller would agree with me, I-S space cool. Yeah, so M-E-R-R-Y space I-is space cool. Be like that. What's up, Mary? Do you have a question? Are you good? Okay. Okay, guys. What's up, Kui? What is it, 8 hand? What do you mean? This is a number 8 hand. So if that's what you mean.
How would they do it and if they can't do it with like a modified avatar?
That's a good question. So if you're not able to do it with a modified like avatar, and you want to say like do an X hand or an 8 hand like this, which a lot of signs do use these like this 8 hand, the number 8. Then what you would do is you would indicate that you are bending your finger down. So if I wanted to do an X, right, I would indicate that I'm bending my finger down like that, X to make it look like I'm bending the finger down. So if you're doing a sign like need or should, you don't have the ability to do an X hand through combo gestures or an index controller, that you would bend your finger down and you would do it. So need or should. You would just indicate. Same thing with an 8 hand. You would indicate that you are bending that finger down and you're doing something like the sign for like. I like that. I like that. Or you would indicate it that you're bending it down and pulling off of yourself like that. I like that. So good question though. You always indicate that you're bending the finger down if you're trying to indicate that you're doing like an X hand or an 8 hand or anything that else requires like bending a finger down. So any other questions? Well, what's up, Mary?
So for the sign for how are you, I noticed you said that you have to rotate your non-dominant hand, but what I usually do is I kind of just alternate with both hands. Does that work too?
Technically, I don't think that that's like how you would sign how, like it doing like this. I think that it would leave with this hand stationary, and the only thing that's moving is your dominant hand. So how? I would get more used to doing it like that, as it's the actual sign would be like this instead of this. This would not be technically correct. It would be the only thing that would be moving is your dominant hand. How? You're twisting your dominant hand. How? How are you? How are you? What's up, article? What about number? So, as numbers are a little difficult to do in VR versus um, like in real life, we're gonna have a separate lesson for like numbers specifically. Maybe I'll do that on Saturday or next Monday. I haven't decided yet, but I will do a lesson on numbers. So, um, but I can quickly do just what it would look like to do numbers in both VR and real life. Um, like if you have an index controller, but I'm going to make it very brief. So if I'm counting to 10, specifically to 10, it would look like this. Then you do it all with one hand. And so that would be the way you do it. I'll do it one more time. Oops. Yep. So that's just a little glance at what it would look like to do it. Takes a little bit of practice, but you technically like can do it in VR with an index controller. You can also do numbers with normal VR controller, but it's a lot more like tedious. It's kind of annoying, but it's possible. So I'll do another lesson on that one day, in the future. But now, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to pair up with the people around you. If you don't know somebody, I recommend if you see a white name around you, go up to somebody and introduce yourself. Practice doing this. Practice introducing yourself. Spell your name out. Say like, "Hi, nice to meet you. How are you? My name is Pandalum." You spell your name out. And then what I want you to do is I want you to practice finger spelling each other's names. And start looking around you to around everybody's names and start finger spelling all the names you can. We're going to take 15 minutes to do this. So go ahead and start now. If you have any questions, you can ask me or any of the helpers here for help. So go ahead and start now. And it's okay to talk. What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to just practice meeting people, practice introducing yourself. Try and practice what I showed you in terms of signing. But if you want to have a conversation with your voice, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine if you're able to. So go ahead and start now, and I'll let you guys know when it's about time to wrap up. Once again, the people on this side, unknown Krevzz is going to be going around kind of showing you guys his interactions, and so just be prepared for that. Okay.
Okay, if anyone has a modified avatar and they need to know the gestures, they're over there and they're written down.
Please help me.
Are you okay? By the way, fuck all of you for spamming me. Fuck all of you.
Buddy, pal, old friend of mine.
You requested like one time. They requested 40, dude.
Find a new person to make her friend.
Wait, did not. Oh, wait, did I? I spammed the fuck out of you. How did that not work?
I think I only got 2 or 3 from you. They literally fucking like pegged me with invites.
It was my idea, you fool.
If I had a full buddy, I would kick you right now. Go, 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 go,
I
stick
would
friend.
think of all people, it wouldn't have been your fucking idea with these two idiots, but sure, I guess, yeah.
There was more of us. There were more idiots.
Yeah, your daughter was fucking these
Oh, don't say that.
4 times.
You can see their outfit.
I think I had a total of 42 before we
Just edit something.
I went on Google for 2 minutes.
I can attempt to.
I didn't get a single invite
So-
back, motherfucker. So fuck you for
I
that.
literally... Bitch, I literally got a notification that
Just
spam clicked everyone.
so-
And I made sure I got you too. I got your bitch at. No. I made sure because I didn't know if I did it. So I clicked yours 3 times. There's no fucking way I didn't get you.
I feel like TTS would save you right now,
You're
Gab.
right, Sonic.
I don't understand that whole thing.
No.
I can't
That's
stand
fine.
it, yeah.
So, I was signing. You
Tired.
remember me?
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
She's getting something to interpret.
I want to like right now. I'm gonna wait till class is over.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the classes?
And just
This is your first
Uh,
class, right?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It was good. It was good to learn, and especially since I learned that
definitely the
some
longest
can be
class.
signed differently.
Gizmo.
Like in K that he was saying was this
So very
45 degrees,
shy.
but I used to like point at my little
Feel
fingers
very
like this, and
shy.
this
I
would
feel
be my
very
K.
shy.
I don't know
I
if
wanna
that's
go
wrong or
out
just
and
Especially
find
when you
different
know
experience,
I'm
but
already
yeah.
so-
That's not
That's an
natural. I
old
was told
version.
to
So
do
there's a
it.
couple old versions. Like they used to do you like this,
Scared,
where
scared,
you would
don't
like
have to.
grab
scared.
and
You
do
don't have to. You
like
don't have
that.
to. You don't have to.
But now they changed
I
it
like
to
that.
this, so it's easier. So U and V. Same thing with K. So K is just like this, or if you have an index, it's like this. You know.
Do you want me to spell mine or yours?
But if you want to get better at fingerspelling, just do what like Panda says. Just start looking out, names or even just words like, stream,
Are you asking me to spell
It's
my
been
name?
51.
I, and,
What
G.
years? Is it 1 hour?
Streaming, you spell out like anything that you see, anything and everything, names, words, and just fingerspell everything.
It's been 1 year.
And you'll naturally get faster, and it'll also somewhat allow you to read out fingerspelling more because you're like, oh, I know that, and then just reading other people's
exactly
like,
right.
spelling out
Yeah.
stuff helps you out as well. So
The
Some
end.
other avatars
very
will
nice.
be similar, but that specific avatar is the one that uses those.
So what got you into trying to learn sign? Is it because you wanted to
Okay.
sign with like mute
I'm
friends?
using your
or-
body to hide from the camera right behind you.
That's good. That's an easy win for you.
That is an easy win for me.
Nice.
How was it again?
I don't
Easy
understand
win?
Close enough.
Is it easy like
I don't
this?
know anybody personally that like me.
Or is it
Flip your
circle?
left
Is it
hand
circle?
like up.
But I'm
Like
just,
flip
I
it
don't know. I
towards the
guess like
ceiling.
I've
Your palm
like,
facing
I
the
mean,
ceiling.
Hearing palm in my
Yeah,
left
and
ear,
then
it's like
like
10 to
your fingers
15%
brushing the
of
bottom
me.
of your
I wouldn't call it
non-dominant
hard of
palm. Yeah.
hearing really. It's just
Like
very
that?
minor. It's
Yeah.
like it's just enough that my
Easy.
hearing person would be
Easy
like,
win.
oh, you could have a hearing aid, and I tried it and I'm like,
Easy
yeah, I'm good.
win.
But anyway,
Done.
because of all that,
That's
I
right.
was interested in all the deaf sign language stuff. And then, but I never did anything with it. And then I just found this on
I was
like
expecting
a
like
page, and I just went to it one
me
day.
and Dreamer
And
and
that's
Mary
basically it.
and we
Nice.
were all joking about how
Yeah,
they
you
how
want me to
we were
repeat
gonna
what I
go
said?
over ABC.
I
That's
like
cool.
using emotes when
I
in
was just
desktop.
gonna fall asleep in the middle
I
of
got
it.
into sign language a while
It's very
back,
cute,
like
it's
a
very
couple years
cute.
ago.
Although I
started
don't know
trying
my
to learn,
emotes very,
and
I
then
didn't
I
mean
just
to
kind
do
of
that.
dropped off, stopped for a bit.
I don't know
Then
my emotes very well.
I met somebody who was teaching somebody else, or like showing somebody else sign language, and that got me kind of reinvigorated my I guess passion for learning sign language, and I just think sign language is such a beautiful kind of language that you can do with your hands. You don't have to speak, you don't have to talk, and everything like that. Plus, it opens up a whole new world the people that you can talk to. Like now you don't you can talk to those people who can't
It's
hear
okay.
you.
It's
You know.
okay. You're gonna be fine,
And
Mr.
it's also something that I'd like to be able to.
I'll start crying. I'll
you
do
know,
it right
one day
now.
become like an interpreter, which I'm gonna go
That would
to
be
classes
You're not
for.
gonna
Kind of
talk to
similar
them
to
if you
Tabin.
see me.
Tabin's going to college
I will show you to the
for
nicest
becoming an
person.
interpreter, and
That's
also
AFK,
what
never
I'm gonna
mind.
do.
He's AFK right now.
So
hey guys, everybody, really quick. There's a few avatars that have the ability to do the combo gestures, like I was saying for General VR. My friend Cat Shark and my friend Senko made a lot of different gestures that you can do. My friend Kiwi over here actually wrote down a little guide on how you can do specifically with that avatar's combo gestures. So if you guys want to practice using combo gestures, which is a combo gesture is like you make a certain like letter or hand with this hand, and then you do like an L with this hand, and then it would turn into double W's. So that specific avatar that Kui and Dreamer are using has the ability to do that. And if you want to practice using the combo gestures, they wrote a little guide on how to do that over there. But keep in mind, not all avatars that have combo gestures are the same controls. Like Gabby's, for instance, is made by somebody named Isaac, who is an awesome person who made like combo gestures as well for their avatars. It's a completely different set of combo gestures though. So continue back to your conversations, and I was just letting you guys know.
You can't hold me hostage with this bullshit. What?
Okay.
Yes, I can, bitch. Hey, LVS chat's broken.
No, dude.
So, let's fucking go.
Baka.
I can't check my social.
Baka.
Yeah, no, everybody's images has no image sound.
I don't think Baka can hear you.
Give it a minute.
They're listening to music.
Edit PC user.
Okay, little fucking question.
Stella, when am I getting
Sometimes I can still hear his voice.
Yeah, you too.
When I get paid next time.
What the fuck? Fuck you.
Okay.
How much shit are you gonna buy for
Homosexual,
people?
okay.
Like, you have any feelings?
$200 on Avatar for my friend.
Dude, the other,
And you're gonna spend
like
300 for
earlier.
Andy, and you're gonna buy crypto a PC.
I want
And also
to
full body also.
What, are you serious? No wonder why she's been on.
Fucking Stella earlier was like, do you want me to buy you
seen her in
new
forever.
controllers? Cause like your stick drift is horrendous. And I was like, no. That's too much. Just throw it against the wall, you'll be fine. Throw it against the wall, you'll be fine. I did that playing Murder 4 actually. That's the whole reason they started breaking. Because I didn't play with my straps on then, and I went to throw the knife and I launched my controller.
Are you saying my? I have personal space on, or you?
Picture of Dustin.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're taking a selfie.
You're welcome. You know that.
You know that. You know that for sure.
You know that. Yeah.
Do you know the way though?
I think so. I think that's where I got it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Post pictures? What?
No?
Ew, imagine.
You don't know the way?
Yeah.
You're lucky I can't sign right now.
I guess so. Why can't you sign? Are your controllers there? Are you on PC?
I was eating Chick-fil-A, so I couldn't get on.
Oh,
Button? Is that what you
on
said?
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. You're just gonna be like, put that out there, huh? Just gonna be like, yeah, it was yummy.
Oh,
It's all
faction?
my
Yeah, we're
stuff.
marauders. That's what
It
you're
is.
asking.
I do have 4 Buffalo packets left over that I'm gonna save if you want one of those.
We chose marauders.
Because we've been
No, I prefer Polynesian sauce.
I don't think it matters though.
And they were like,
I think we would
Well,
switch anyway.
that's enough of that. I don't think I'll be talking to you anymore.
Now they're killing me.
What?
So that
What, you hate?
Hold on,
You can't tell me you hate Polynesian sauce.
Huh?
Miss Article, do you?
Shut up.
You know, wants to die as fuck. You just
What
give her
is
a good
that?
old, you know.
What is Polynesian sauce?
They'll kill you for it.
Fingerspell.
Why do you have 3?
What's up?
You know,
But better.
Don't question it. And be nice.
Oh, I don't eat Chick-fil-A.
now you're dead.
I don't. There's.
Yeah, like we're doing nice to meet you.
You're already dead. You can't kill me.
Just to make sure. That's it.
They already stabbed me like
With my what?
51
Sorry.
times.
They'll check for you.
Oh, dominant? Yeah.
That's okay with them.
So I move my dominant hand towards me like this. So I know you can do it this way, but for me, it's more comfortable to do it like this. Like we're me, like because either way, it's coming together.
I've never had a chicken burger from
Go ahead.
Like they're coming together. It's more comfortable. I'm lagging. More comfortable for me to do this.
Fam. We'll get shift.
I don't know. I don't know.
Are we British
I'd
now?
That's
rather
me.
go to Chick-fil-A than KFC.
Okay.
Or any chicken from
I
any
need to
other
invite
place.
Moses, then I'll just pop off. It's like,
They're
oh,
different?
fam,
Really?
one.
Interesting.
Right hand middle
everything
finger,
for okay.
Okay.
left hand
You got a
closed.
license for stabbing.
I was showing it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah. By the way, do I know you?
Right hand middle
You are you an
finger.
alternate account?
That is middle finger.
Okay, I know you. I was going to say.
That's
Interesting.
That's
I
your right hand,
think
sorry.
you told me
Left
before.
Left hand middle finger, right hand closed.
I was so
Yeah,
confused.
nice. Yeah. Okay.
It's like
I figured.
Filipino fast food with
Okay.
Yeah,
let's
I
try
get
this
you.
again.
so good. It's in Seattle.
Are you sure that's okay? Well, thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. I can double. I can tell everybody that. Okay.
Don't tell me you forgot again.
I've never seen
Yeah,
a
what up,
Jolly
fam?
Yes. No. Yes.
Okay.
I've never heard
Yeah.
that one. That's new. That's new.
No. Other
Okay.
way.
Yeah.
All I know is the World One.
Oh.
Just the dude, my friend. he
Fuck
thinks he's
drift,
British,
fuck.
but he's from massive.
Wait,
fucking
yes,
Texas.
Oh, that's not West Coast.
Language!
Whack one. Whack one. Whack one.
Is that what
It's like what's up or something.
I don't know how old people.
It's how are you?
That's I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but
Question:
it's
is
tomato,
that
tomato,
an
tomato,
actual
tomato.
teacher, like a real life teacher, or is that just someone
Tomato,
who's
tomato.
helping people?
I mean, it's
What was it
either
though?
PSC. We have like three actually.
Think she went out here.
We switch between PSC
Hold on,
and
sorry.
MSC.
You're asking me? Or asking him?
Yeah.
And then
You.
Hold on.
time zone because
For 1 hour.
Right.
Just
I know. Okay.
I live in
Is,
Arizona. Oh, what's your time zone? Arizona.
and
Yeah, Arizona. Their own. We don't switch time, we
real,
just
because I can't sign
kind of
real.
stops whatever
Real.
time
Right.
zone is. You know, it's like, oh, now we're PST.
Teacher.
Oh, now we're.
It's not real.
That's funny.
It's not
we
real.
learned so
It's
much
not real.
today.
That's it.
It's not real.
What?
It's not real.
That's pretty funny.
Sorry to disappoint you.
You gotta meet my homie. We gotta meet my homie. Their name is Cheese Signs. They're pretty chill.
Oh wait, I'll just ask.
Yeah, they're pretty chill.
Very.
They're a very good sign person.
Go ahead.
They teach the classes on
Okay,
Fridays,
that's alright,
advanced
he's
advanced
still-
signs. So
I'm completely.
they're
new
really
to
really
this.
cool person. Yeah. Good
I thought it was
drinking buddy.
Thursday.
What's up?
Are you a real signing teacher?
INT?
Okay.
Am I what?
Here now.
Do you have like an actual
Sorry, I'm
degree
lagging.
for signing?
Yeah, I'm
Really?
literally
Voices on.
completely brand new.
So
to
I
this.
volunteer for pretty much my daycare, my local daycare,
My
and
brain.
I teach like preschoolers and
Jesus
below
Christ.
sign language. But I'm not like a certified teacher
But after that,
in real life or anything like that. No.
That's still cool.
This is all
That's
volunteer
still
work.
cool.
You're out of here. You're never here.
Yeah, this is all volunteer work.
I'll get fired.
Just to help the community, just because I
I'm gonna get
enjoy helping
So
people.
what's even
So.
happening?
And same with all the
Well,
other
thank
teachers.
you.
I don't think there's really.
Like,
I actually don't think
mean,
there's a single teacher in any
I met
community in
people
VR chat that is a
and
certified
she's
real
like,
life
oh, I
teacher.
need to get a class. I was like,
It's all volunteer work. So
then
The only person that's
she was on about
certified
this
in
place,
any
and I was like,
community is
well,
Shade
I might as
Axes,
well
and he's not
know.
even a teacher for helping hands.
They're pretty much so.
Kinda.
yeah.
I'm gonna go with yes.
It's
so
all
watch your
volunteer work.
language. Big friend. Oh my
What's
god.
up, Mary?
Okay.
What's happening?
Can you,
I can.
can
I'll
you
try.
remember? Can you remind me what the sign for good
I have
friend
language
was?
issues.
What about intros?
Good friend.
Was it like
So good friend would be like
Is it like-
this. It's like you're locking your fingers together and you're
Like,
pulling down. So good friend. Yeah, good friend. Yeah, if you
Just
want to
one.
indicate
Oh,
that you're
God. Oh my
bending your
God.
two
Okay.
index fingers and pulling down like this, you can do that.
Oh.
Yeah, good friend.
Okay, he's clueless. Never mind.
Like this?
My name is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The sign for a real good friend
Good
is when
friend.
you stick your fingers in each other's
That's
eyes.
my name. It's literally. the same.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's why I said
me?
monkey with
Okay,
jeans.
guys. Go ahead and start wrapping up your conversations. I'm gonna go ahead and get back
Oh, you
to
want it? Sure.
the rest of the lesson in like 2 or 3 minutes. So go ahead and get ready to wrap up your conversations. Do you guys have questions?
Oh yeah, pumpkin, yeah.
Are you guys just vibing?
Pumpkin or watermelon, yeah.
No questions.
We're having a blast.
No questions.
Yes.
You're just vibing. August. What's up, Tanner?
Yeah.
I'm so dumb. I don't.
You have my camera, ma'am?
Yeah, pumpkin.
He does actually.
As well.
That goes right here.
It was. I kept grabbing it, and I didn't want to. It was like writing blue, and I don't like that.
That's okay.
Also, what's your side name?
What's
I
up,
don't
Tanner?
like that.
You don't
I
have
didn't
one.
like it.
I was wondering
Wow.
if you were saying that
Yeah, I'm
you
ready
should
for
have
this
the non-dominant hand on top. Does it matter whether it's like one or the other? Like
I
dominant on top
personally
and non-dominant?
prefer the non-dominant hand being the one on top. It just feels more comfortable to me, but I do not think it actually matters. Yeah, I do not think it matters as long as you're making a T. Yeah, but for my personal preference would be with the non-dominant hand on top.
For a bit of context,
Yep.
That's very interesting.
there was
You
like
can't
I
allow.
have.
Why'd you run to the store?
Why?
waiting for me to
Why?
give them forehead kisses.
Is it?
Of
Did you bring enough for the rest of the
If I put
class?
some duct tape over my ears, I'm basically done.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I can't get up. I can't get up.
I hit my fan. How about
Hey, you got me that weed I asked for, right?
that? Are you licking my butt?
We're doing it again. You get up.
What's up?
It's actually illegal in my state, so I'm free to say weed. I am legally obliged to say. I am legally obliged to endorse weed now,
I'm okay.
and no one can say otherwise.
Time to continue the lesson.
Remember that,
My
OG.
fan is like right here. I would smack it.
Remember this. Weed is legal in my state, so I'm obliged to endorse it.
Yeah. That's exactly what I need.
Alright guys, so I wanted to cover a couple more things with you guys to help you guys with your introduction. Just a couple more key sentences that you can sign.
It's great.
And then also I want to kind of correct myself just a little on like the sign for nice to meet you, because I signed it correctly, but like the correct way if I got this right would be like the two people are coming together, but you
Okay, I'll give you a forehead kiss. Come on. Come on. Let's go.
you'd be moving
Damn.
your dominant hand towards the person that you're meeting. So you'd go nice to meet you, and the one that your dominant hand, like I said earlier, your dominant hand's always the one that's moving, would be moving towards the person that you're meeting. So nice to meet you. To meet you. Nice to meet you. If you move, I'm not 100% sure like on the exact difference between moving your non-dominant hand towards you. I would assume that's somebody coming to meet you. But if you were just meeting somebody in general, nice to meet you would be the way that you would do that correctly. Your dominant hand would be the one moving towards the person. So nice to meet you.
Wait, I'm still not muted.
Nice to meet you. My name. You have your two peace signs on each hand, and you're tapping. You're moving your dominant hand once again. You're tapping your non-dominant hand twice. So my open hand on you. This is mine. And then this is name. My name is Pandalum. Yeah, my name is then you spell your name. My name. So my name. The next one I'm going to show you is I'm new. So if you're doing you would do it with a hand that's open and flat like this. So my. But if you're doing you do it with an index finger. You just point toward yourself. So I'm new. You have your non-dominant hand, and then you have your dominant hand. It's going upwards in a motion like this. So new. I'm new. I'm new. I'm new. Now, something I want to show you guys is how to sign language. Sign language. And this is the way that I prefer to sign it as the way that I see a lot of people sign the word sign is like this. So you have your index fingers and you're going outwards. So sign like this, right? But I always recommend that people don't do it this way, specifically because it looks too similar to the sign for win. WHEN. Win. And when you're in a conversation that's going full speed, that can get confusing and it could look too similar to the sign for win. So the way I'm going to tell you that you should sign would be like this. Your index fingers are diagonal and you're moving towards yourself. So sign, language, sign, language. You're pulling your L's out. You're unraveling a string between your fingers. That's the way I think about it. So sign, your thumbs are tucked in for sign. It's only your index fingers. And then when you do sign, language, like this. So sign, language. Sign, language. That is my preferred way, as it's not distinguishable, or it's distinguishable between that and another sign. It's not confusing at all. So now the last one I'll show you guys today, because I don't want to bombard you guys with too much information, is signing slow. Asking someone to sign slow. So sign slow. Sign slow, please. Please. Sign slow, please. You have your flat hand and you're going up your forearm for slow. Slow. And please is an open hand over your chest, specifically over your chest. Sign slow, please. Sign slow, please. I'm new. I'm new. So, again, sign slow, please. I'm new. So, now I want to cover a couple things that I was thinking about, just be good tips to go in and practice your conversational skills. For one, I want you guys to keep this in mind. Drill this into your head. Do not ever fake understand somebody. It's very important that you guys do not, no matter what, act like you understand if you do not understand. Because you are going to hinder your own learning experience, your own ability to progress if you act like you understand. And you can also put yourself in a kind of awkward situation if you act like you understand something, but then the person asks you if you understand, and then they kind of follow up with that and expect you to. And if they find out you don't understand and you were kind of just wasting their time, it can be a salty experience. So if you don't understand, because the sign for understand is like a light bulb going off in your head. If you understand, you do this. I understand. You're opening and closing your index finger. You're on your dominant hand. I understand. The only difference if you don't understand is you're shaking your head yes or no. So I understand. I don't understand. In real life, it would look like this. Instead of you closing your index finger completely, it would look like this. It's like a light bulb going off in your head. If you don't understand, always sign that you don't understand and ask what a word is. Ask what a word is. Stop. Hey, stop. It's like you're karate chopping your non-dominant hand. Stop. Hey, stop. What does that word mean? The meaning of a word. You have your dominant hand and you're poking your palm of your non-dominant hand twice. You do it 2 times. One like this and one like this. You're just turning it. Meaning. So if you need to ask what a sign means, then and have somebody fingerspell the sign back to you, you should do that every single time. Most people are very patient, have no problem doing so, because we all know that we all started there. We all started somewhere. And so it does not make you look stupid. It's not something to be ashamed about. If you have to ask what a lot of words mean, we all know that you're new, especially if you signed it. I'm new. Sign slow, please. You know, I'm pretty new. And we shouldn't have any problems like helping somebody else by fingerspelling. So, if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to sit here. I always, after my classes, hang out for like an hour or two after the class is finished. And same with the other people who a lot of people like to hang out and just vibe and practice their conversational skills. But technically now I'm gonna go ahead and finish the class. Like class is fully dismissed. You guys are welcome to stay and hang out. Like I said, I want to go ahead and take the time to say thank you guys so much for being a part of Immersed. As the second biggest sign community, I couldn't be more proud of everybody. Thank you to Gabriella, for creating this wonderful community, and thank you to my like fellow staff members who are helping making everything possible. And thank you guys for trusting us to help you guys with your sign language journeys. If you're not inside the Discord, you can find a Discord link at the beginning of the map where the introduction section is discord.gg/immersed. You can find our Discord link or vanity URL right there, or you can add me on Discord at Pandalum1111 in my bio, and you guys can come and hang out. So our next class will be tomorrow. Akira will be teaching, and so she'll be teaching at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned for that if you guys want to come and learn more. I appreciate you all, and I love you. Thank you for coming. The sign for Immersed. This is the name sign for Immersed. So, I love you guys all. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna take a brief break before anything. I'm just gonna use the restroom. So if you guys have any questions, the helpers' names are right here. You guys are more than welcome to go and ask any questions you guys need to. So, see you guys later.